Hey Lonnie, you look like you're in your 30s? Well, okay. Is that good or bad? I'm 46. Video, I don't really know anything about this creator or this video. But it's about Voodoo and their repetitive mobile games, which I do know a good bit about, considering I've played all of them 8 times over. So I figured it would be interesting to react to. I'll turn off Animal Crossing maybe, or maybe I'll turn this guy up.
Mobile gaming industry, the first thing I think of are awful, yucky, and stinky rip-off games with bad controls that are generally just, not great. But the average person might think of some of the games by Voodoo. Numbers-wise, Voodoo could very well be the most recognizable mobile game company around. And with games like Paper.io, Paper.io 2, and Paper.io 3D. Why are there 4 of these? I wouldn't be surprised if they really are the biggest mobile game company around. So come with me as I take a look at some repetitive Voodoo games. So the first game is Paper.io. I'm not sure what's new about it, seeing that the game was released in 2016, but you do you, I guess. This is actually the first major success published by Voodoo, and it's relatively well known in the realm of mobile gaming. The design philosophy is similar to other .io games, like Agario or Slither.io.
Yeah,
in the game, your goal is to cover as much space as possible to become the #1 player on the leaderboard. Every round starts in the same way. Every player spawns at once, and you and the real human players start taking some territory. Yeah! I'm the best player ever! The first place player on the leaderboard gets a crown above their head. However, it's purely cosmetic. Now you might notice that the game's a bit laggy. Well, I was actually able to fix it by turning off my phone's internet. And even though the gameplay and leaderboard suggests that the game is online, it worked completely fine with no internet connection. That means that this, and pretty much every other Voodoo game, prefer to use bots over any actual players. So why have a leaderboard if there aren't any people to go up against? Well, the game wants the positives that come with multiplayer games, like a feeling of competition, and the addictiveness and satisfaction gained from beating actual people, but with none of the shortcomings, like server costs, connection issues, or having to have a consistent player base. The gameplay gets repetitive. I don't know,
how do you guys feel about the fake multiplayer games? It doesn't bother me much, really.
That's trying to be, so I don't see anything wrong with that. Yeah. Just don't go in expecting to see anything substantial. Next, we have one of their most popular games.
I feel like they do worse stuff.
Dune is a decently high-quality game. It kind of follows the Flappy Bird idea of having to do a certain thing enough times to get a high score.
Look at this Dune.
While in Flappy Bird, that thing is going through pipes. In Dune, that thing is jumping over the white line. I really like the visual style for this game. Its simple 2D graphics don't look ugly, but also aren't too distracting. Something really important for these types of games is the method of controlling it, and Dune pulls that off really well. You can change your speed and floatiness by just swiping in a direction, and the game stays consistent with its set of rules. If you land downwards too sharply, you won't make the landing, but you get rewarded for landing smoothly, which you can only do by going downwards at certain points. This encourages you to take risks. There's also a shop in the game, where you could select different skins for the ball and the terrain around you. Overall, I think Dune is most likely the best Voodoo game I've played. You can tell that there was at least someone who put some actual effort and care into this game, rather than just pushing something out to get a paycheck, and that makes the game a lot more enjoyable. Now here's a real good one. This one's called Reddit. As you can see, it's actually #1 on the news section.
Great game.
Good. Honestly, it seems a bit different from the
I am
other
confused.
Stuff. They really. Oh, the game I'm actually playing is Wood Turning 3D. Not sure how Reddit got into the script. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, Wood Turning 3D. The gameplay loop is pretty much the same
more
thing
like a
every
game.
time. A character walks up to you and asks
They made
you
Reddit
to
and
chop some wood
Discord?
in the 3rd dimension. And then they'll give you a prize. You can say yes or no, but you definitely want to say no. That's because the person after them always gives a higher rate than the person before. So you just say no to people until you could get the best deal possible. The game also wants you to watch an ad to get to the best deal, but there's actually a really easy way to avoid doing that. Basically, if you just turn the Wi-Fi off your device, it skips to the game instead of playing an ad. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now we're actually turning wood in the game about turning wood. And we do this by moving your finger around the outline of the object that needs to be made. For some objects you need a bit more precision, so there are other options when it comes to tools. Then you switch to the
This guy is really describing the turning wood game that shouldn't exist.
Slightly miss the line, it automatically puffs back up to the line when you switch to the sanding phase.
That
this
is
means
some
that you're
detailed
either getting
observations
play
about the wood
anyways,
being
and ends up feeling empty
shaved
from beginning
and
to
chiseled
end.
and
Now
shaped.
here's Twisty Road. The aesthetic of the game feels really empty compared to the other games. I think that's due to the
I
background
don't understand.
being a dark
Isn't he talking about how repetitive these are? These are all different.
void enveloping everything around it.
I feel
So
like
basically,
I've
you're a
been
ball,
clickbaited.
and your goal is to make it to the end of the level. The levels are these winding pathways that kinda remind me of Rainbow Road from Mario Kart. The paths don't change much in different levels, only really changing in color. You lose if you fall off the side of the road, but you can also skip to later parts of the track by jumping off intentionally. There's a similar game to this called Aquapark Io. The main difference between the two
That's
is
just
that
Stumble
Aquapark
Guys,
lets
but
you straight up
skinnier.
skip to the end of the level, while
That's
Twisty
just
Road
Stumble
makes you
Guys,
fade
but
away
only
if
the
you're off
one level
road
with
for
the
too
water
long.
slide.
Something interesting to note is that the level changes when you respawn. So if you fall off, you don't actually need to remember the layout of the level. Not like it matters much anyways.
React to
because
plastic,
the levels
man?
are all,
What is
again,
that?
pretty much the same. The path always goes downwards, and the only neat thing I saw was a section of a level that was a bit thinner than usual. Ooh. Like most other Voodoo games, this game also has a shop where you could buy skins for the ball and different patterns for the road. There isn't really much to talk about here, as it's just the same thing over and over again. Lastly, we have Crowd City. This one follows a different formula than the rest of the game. Basically,
I've played all
you
of
go
these.
around a map and you have to increase
such
the
a
volume
gamer.
in order to once again be #1 on the leaderboard. Obviously, this is
He's making Voodoo look way too good in this video. It's kind of upsetting me.
From another one of their games, Hold.io. So when they aren't
He should be
stealing from
highlighting
others,
the
they're
fact that
stealing
they
from themselves.
steal
While it looks
concepts
decently
and dumb
good
them
on
down.
the surface, there are a number of things done by Voodoo to make sure you're giving
Like
them as much
Dune
money as
is
possible.
just tiny wings,
For
but
example,
shittier.
Even though there aren't
But
any
he didn't know
actual
that
people
because he's a
playing
fake
against
gamer.
you, the game still forces you to
Filthy
be connected
casual.
to the internet. And
Just
like
kidding.
every other Voodoo game, it runs
I'm
way
gonna start
better when you're
gatekeeping
not
mobile
connected
gaming.
to the internet. So you just have to sit back and
It
live
got
with the
a
fact
bad
that this
rap
game
for
is
so
never
long,
gonna
I'm bringing
run
it
as
back
good as
around.
should. The goal of the game is to get as many people to join your group to become the biggest group.
Anyways, I forgot what I was talking about because it was stupid.
After other groups. The deciding factor as to who wins a fight all
They
comes
steal
down to
Lonnie
who's
dos
bigger.
Let's
And as
Plays
you
for
go
their
to attack someone,
advertisements
you start
when
to
they
take
could just
members
ask.
off the other group and
That's
convert it to
mainly
your
why I
own
hate them.
until you fully assimilate all those people into your cult.
And that's it.
Even though each round is only 2 minutes long, the game still feels the need to have a halftime. And of course, the game gives you an ad. And again, you can't disable the Wi-Fi or else the video game dies instantly. Overall, Crowd City is a piece of garbage that runs like garbage and also looks like garbage. Play a game that actually has you spending more time playing the game than watching ads. Something you'll notice with the selection of
why would I
games
do
that
that?
I chose a lot of games with different styles and levels of quality. Games published by Voodoo tend to vary widely in style and presentation.
Yeah, you showed like
This
the
is due
best
to
ones,
them
which aren't
trying to
even very
create
good.
variety by pandering to every genre of mobile game. Whether it's fake.io games, simulators, or whatever the hell this is. The repetitive nature of these games means they get boring when played for more than just a few minutes at a time. But each and every one of Voodoo's games are kinda made for this sort of thing. Just a quick way to kill a few minutes. But you know what could do that better? TikTok. Now,
What?
I absolutely hate short-form content. I think it was able to draw my attention span by 99% after watching only a few hours of YouTube Shorts, and I'd much rather watch something with more time and effort put into it. But as a way to get some quick entertainment while waiting for an appointment or waiting for the bus, I feel like Shorts are way more diverse than playing the same Voodoo games over and over again. Also, I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. I found a game for baddies!
Alright, this video was okay, but he should have went harder on him. I just want him to tell them that they're horrible because they are. 5 out of 10. Could have shat on Voodoo more.